Tesla shuts down Gigafactory Berlin after suspected sabotage results in power outage. A German politician called this a form of terrorism. It is obviously a serious attack on our critical infrastructure with consequences for thousands of people as well as many small and large businesses in our country. And it appears that the left-wing extremists, the Vulcan group, have claimed responsibility for the attack, stating they wanted to shut down Tesla. Elon commented on the situation: "These are either the dumbest eco-terrorists on earth or they are puppets of those who don't have good environmental goals. Stopping production of electric vehicles rather than fossil fuel vehicles is extremely dumb." If you remember, the environmentalists very recently set up camp where Tesla wanted to clear this forest, which was planted for commercial purposes, by the way. This is not a park or anything like that. They are turning someone else's property into a campsite, which is not legal, I think. It shouldn't be. I know that the police allow them to protest, but this is a bit absurd. To me, this feels a little bit like, let's say you are a vegetarian and you hate other people who eat meat, and then you go into someone else's house, inside their kitchen, and you protest right in front of them while they are eating in their own house. And if deforestation is really your issue, you are an absolute hypocrite, because Tesla promised to plant more trees than how many trees it is going to cut. The police are investigating if it indeed was that extremist group that created this problem for the factory. The group, which in Germany is classified as left-wing extremist, said the factory contaminates the groundwater and consumes huge quantities of the already scarce drinking water resource for its products. Tesla is a symbol for green capitalism. But Tesla has already significantly reduced its water usage. But why attack Tesla? Why not target Volkswagen, for example, which produces gasoline-powered vehicles, which will heavily pollute the environment? Leno commented on the new Model 3. He did a pretty in-depth review with Lars and Franz from Tesla. He says that this feels almost as good as my Model S at more than half the price. Actually, it's almost a third of the price. I think my Plaid was $130,000 when I got it. It's a little cheaper now, I guess. Without Tesla, the US is only 3% of the way to DC fast charger targets. Well, it's a good thing we have Tesla then. The old Twitter CEO, the CFO, the chief legal office, and general counsel have just sued Elon Musk and are asking for $130 million in severance. Why did it take for them so long to sue Elon Musk? I say, just like Omar, we pay him, all of these guys, about as much as Elon got paid by the Delaware court. Tesla insurance ends 2023 with nearly $500 million in written premiums, which is a 115% year-over-year increase. However, there's more to this. Certainly, Tesla insurance is very popular among Tesla owners, but Tesla Property and Casualty and Tesla General Insurance reported a combined underwriting loss of $30 million in 2023. Tesla obviously is learning many things in the industry, but I think with time things are going to get significantly better as Tesla also figures out new ways to fix vehicles for a cheaper price or manufacture these vehicles in such a way that is going to make them easier to repair. And the way I see Tesla's insurance business is not so much as something that will make a lot of money for Tesla eventually, although it will make some money. The way I see it more is, oh, if you buy a Tesla vehicle, your insurance will be cheaper, so you will save even more money owning a Tesla vehicle than any other vehicle out there. And because Tesla can have real-time driving data, Tesla can figure out eventually the best way to price your insurance coverage. So unless other insurance companies are going to start making cars and become extremely technologically focused with these new vehicles that they are going to make if they decide to compete with Tesla, Yeah, unless they do that, they are not going to beat Tesla. A newscaster from CNBC just got community noted about Tesla on X. Electric cars release more toxic emissions than gas-powered vehicles and are worse for the environment, finds a shocking report. The community note says, this is factually incorrect. The article linked does not even support the commentary. Read its end for full context. And this is the end of the article. According to the EPA, over an EV's lifetime, the total greenhouse gas emissions associated with the manufacturing, charging, and driving, so including everything, is typically lower than a standard vehicle powered by gasoline. However, the thing that they really emphasize here would be the tires wearing out much faster than with normal vehicles because EVs are typically heavier. The tire tread releases toxic particles 400 times greater than exhaust emissions, they say. And here's how you know that whoever worked on this article or whoever worked on this study is about as smart as Gordon Johnson. Because they say, because the cars are heavier, 30% heavier, the brakes are going to wear out much sooner as well, which also pollutes the environment with the brake dust and everything. So yeah, heavier cars means more braking, more wear and tear of the brakes, which is absolutely not true with EVs. With my Tesla, I barely brake ever. When the vehicle is braking, it's recharging and it's not using the actual brakes. The actual brakes take much longer to wear out with EVs. If you're now going to worry about EVs being a little bit heavier and therefore that's somehow contributing extremely negatively to the environment, we should worry about all of these heavy SUVs out there on the roads and people driving pickup trucks that don't do any work pretty much at all with their pickup trucks. They just drive it just because they get a tax write-off and they just like it. Also, recently we saw manufacturers announcing that they are working on tires specifically for EVs, which are going to last longer. So I see this as a temporary issue with the tire specifically. Today we are seeing headlines like this: Tesla's China sales dip in February amid Chinese New Year slowdown. Going forward, to beat last year's Q1, Tesla needs to average about 15,000 deliveries per week in China. This last week we got 12,500. This was just reported. Currently we are ahead of last year's Q1, which is in green. A few more countries reported deliveries. Australia is actually doing quite well this quarter. The Model 3 actually became Australia's best-selling vehicle in February. EV market share in Australia just reached an all-time high of 9.6%. The UK reported sales. The UK still has a major delivery wait that happens at the end of each quarter, so I wouldn't draw any conclusions from these numbers yet. So Q1 deliveries as of this moment are not looking exactly great, but Troy says that this second ship from China to Canada will have a small positive effect of around 1,700 units. It seems like the ship is carrying Model 3s. From The Guardian, Tesla has launched a scathing attack on Australia's main auto industry lobby group, accusing it of attempting to delay climate action by repeatedly making plainly false claims to the public about an Albanese government clean car policy. Roland did a poll on X: as soon as Tesla FSD beta is available in Europe, I will buy it. How about Europeans? Now, there was no option for me to see the results without voting, so I just voted yes, I will buy it. I have FSD, but I'm in Canada. And someone says we will buy for our complete fleet of 4,500 Teslas. Wow. Elon Musk will be speaking at a Morgan Stanley conference tomorrow. It will be at 11:45 a.m. I am not fully sure about the time zone, but it says San Francisco here, so it's probably Pacific time. Yeah, actually, I'm pretty sure it's Pacific time because there's a specific location and that location is in California, so 99% sure 11:45 a.m. Pacific Time. Tesla Malaysia is the only Asian country to introduce a new color to its Tesla Model Y vehicle, but they also have these colors in China. The new colors are Ultra Red and Stealth Gray. More V4 superchargers are being installed in the US. V4 superchargers have these longer cables, so even if you own a Rivian or a Ford F-150 Lightning, you'll have no issues charging at these charging stations without having to take multiple spots. On March 7th, there's going to be a live stream about the Model 3 with Franz, Tesla's chief designer, and Lars, Tesla's VP of Vehicle Engineering. It will be at 2 p.m. Pacific time. You may submit your questions if you have any questions for them. Go ahead and upvote the questions that you like. I want to know, why were gigacastings not used in the new Model 3? And in terms of productions and what's inside the vehicle, things that we don't necessarily see, I would like to know if there are any differences between the Chinese-made Model 3 and the US-made Model 3. Look at who just took delivery of a Sabot Crash, Sandy Monroe. Likely, we are going to see a teardown of a Sabot truck by Sandy, and I am really looking forward to it. He does incredible work. Tesla's controversial turn signals are going to ding its near-perfect safety rating. This is happening in Europe. Euro NCAP announced that it plans to crack down on the overuse of touchscreen inside vehicles. The agency said that in order to get a 5-star rating, cars will have to have physical controls for turn indicators, hazard warning lights, windscreen wipers, horn, and SOS features. We know that electric can be extremely critical of Tesla sometimes, but Fred writes, honestly, I don't think the force touch turn signals are too bad. It takes some getting used to, like anything, but I don't know for sure that it's not as safe as a stock once you get used to it. I think if you're not used to it, definitely it's a bit weird driving, let's say, a Model 3, but I drove it and mostly it was completely fine. It's only an issue if you are driving at low speeds and you need to turn the steering wheel a lot and you make one turn and then immediately you make another turn. For example, you go into a parking lot and then immediately you need to turn left. You're not going to signal that left turn unless you are extremely used to the turning signals and you prepared yourself and you hit that turn signal just at a perfect time when the steering wheel was like this and not like that. So the turning signals for me are only an issue with the new Model 3 if you go very slowly. If you are in a roundabout, which is what I was really worried about, it's no issue if the roundabout has multiple lanes, which means it's a bigger roundabout and you will not turn your steering wheel by a lot, so you will be able to signal without any issues. But if it's a one-lane roundabout, yeah, I was not really able to use my turn signals because the roundabout was so tight. But in a roundabout like that, because it's only a one-lane roundabout, you don't really need to use a turning signal. I mean, I would still prefer to use it, but you're not going to crash because you're not using a turning signal. Remember the Sabot crash from yesterday? Well, everyone on X was quoting this post that said that it was the fault of the valet, but now we are hearing that it was not. It was the owner of the truck who was driving. There's also a report that the wall outside the Beverly Hills Hotel has been transported to the hospital after getting into a crash with a Cybertruck. Goldman Sachs just put out this research note. Is the price right? The case for Tesla to be more selective on the US price cuts. This is an analysis on EV pricing and the subsidies from the government. EV pricing has been a key focus for investors, with the price reductions from OEMs creating questions about demand elasticity and profit implications, as well as on EV affordability and EV share compared to ICE and hybrid vehicles. They make three main points in the report. Number one, we believe that Tesla and Rivian should generally be firm with pricing in the US based on our analysis of elasticity of demand and profits, and the relative attractiveness of EV pricing for certain models, especially with the $7,500 tax credits, although targeted price reductions coupled with reduced features and the bill of materials cost could be logical for entry-level trims. Number two, BEVs are a competitive option for at least a mid-teens % of the US market, or twice the current penetration rates, we remain positive on long-term EV demand in the US, although recognize that EV growth is slower in the near term to intermediate term. We also continue to expect strong hybrid and plug-in hybrid growth. Number 3, while we take no view on the outcome of the upcoming elections in the US, we estimate that reducing the number of vehicles eligible for IRA credits, which could occur with a change in the presidential administration, could affect 5 to 15% of the EV demand, and repealing the IRA, which would require both congressional and presidential support, could affect 10 to 30% of demand, although we'd expect the impact to reduce over time. Importantly, we believe that global regulatory policies and improved EV costs and choice over time would still be supportive of long-term EV growth, obviously. When it comes to pricing, I think the most important thing that Tesla can focus on is bringing the next generation vehicle as fast as possible. In the meantime, some investors are actually enjoying this Tesla stock buying opportunity. For example, AJ says, "Dear Tesla panic seller, I wanted to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude for your recent selling of Tesla stock. Your actions have unlocked a significant discount and made a significant impact on me and others, and I am genuinely appreciative of your kindness. Your generosity not only brightened my day, but also served as a source of inspiration. I am grateful for the positive impact you have had on me and others. Thank you for being such an emotionally driven investor and for creating a positive and encouraging environment for others and myself. I look forward to your future actions and kindness." To me, it's starting to sound like many people, and the market even to some degree, is starting to think that Tesla's next generation vehicle is going to be severely delayed many more times, or if it does come out, it will not really sell well. To which I would say that was not the case at all with the Model 3 and the Model Y, two mass market vehicles. I do not buy Tesla stock based on what it just did yesterday or a week before, a month before. I buy it based on what I think Tesla will do in the next 10 years. But I think there are quite a few investors or traders or gamblers that sell more the lower the stock goes and buy more the more the stock goes up. That's generally a recipe for a disaster. These people should stick to buying index funds. Elon Musk replied with thanks to this post. "We have chosen the hashtag DeliverCourt81 for the 81% majority vote by Tesla shareholders in 2018 to get the word out, to make it known that we are writing letters to the court this week. Write your letters and mail them out as soon as possible. Here's the address and everything you need to know about mailing it. You could simply take this letter and paste it into ChatGPT or Grok and just ask it to rewrite it, basically saying the same things. Feel free to add your opinion. It is not guaranteed that any of this will change the mind of the judge, but this will help a little bit, and Elon certainly welcomes this action. I'm not sure if he can even openly ask everyone to do this. This might look bad in court, maybe. I'm not really sure if there would be any legal implications for him encouraging people to do it, so I wouldn't really expect anything to hear directly from Elon, but clearly he appreciates this. And look at how beautifully Alexander wrote this part. "If one contends that compensation ought to be contingent upon the stock's value, it is imperative to assess it at the initiation of the litigation in 2018. Waiting 6 years, during which the stock experienced substantial gains due to Elon Musk's exceptional contributions to Tesla, appears inconsistent. The plaintiff counsel, who initially asserted that the compensation package adversely affected shareholders, now seems to opportunistically seek the maximum advantage from the situation they previously decried as detrimental to the company and its investors. This apparent contradiction raises questions about the sincerity of their concerns and the integrity of their current motives." Battery electric vehicles captured over 90% of the market share in Norway in February, the second consecutive month over 90%. This is the feature, an inevitable feature commercially, really, in the long term for every single country on the planet. And this is one reason why I remain so invested in Tesla stock. In the meantime, Jaguar is making a good move. It has announced that it will halt production of its gas-powered models by June 2024. This move is part of Jaguar's plan to transition into an EV-only brand by 2025. We will probably see other smaller ICE manufacturers make similar moves, especially those that are more focused on premium vehicles, and this is the right move for them. Tesla is not particularly focused on luxury, so this doesn't hurt Tesla directly. This $100 million Megapack battery storage system, it is now progressing to the commissioning stage, so this will come online soon. Tesla will benefit greatly from many projects like this. Ford's EV price cuts boost demand as all-electric sales climb 80% in February. It's 80% year over year, but also keep in mind that relatively speaking, compared to Tesla, they are not selling that many vehicles. So it's much easier to sell many more vehicles year over year. There's a leak about Rivian's new model. Source says this is Model Y territory. RJ said it would qualify for the full $7,500 EV credit, unlike current Rivian vehicles. These are taken from the Rivian R2 website using Web Inspector, so maybe the numbers are legit. This is not officially official, but there's some chance that these are actual real numbers. So the starting price is supposed to be at $47,500. So the range would be 330 miles, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. So that's pretty nice. 5 seats, of course, and it's supposed to come in 2026. Now, it is not clear to me that you will get 330 miles of range for $47,000. Maybe that's just the starting price, and the cheapest model will have less range. As I'm recording this, Rivian stock is up a little bit, but not by much, only by about 1%. Nissan is making a big move. It cut the 2024 Aria EV prices by up to $6,000 to increase demand, so the price now starts at about $40,000. The UAW president, Shawn Fain, is the 2024 Motor Trend Person of the Year. Now, I am starting to have a slightly difficult time distinguishing jokes from actual news stories. This one turned out to be an actual news story. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in tomorrow's episode.